Okay, welcome back to All Things Whitetail. Here with Jim Ward with Jim Ward's Whitetail Academy. And Jim, I met you back in May of 2011, and this is when you first came to our property.
Right.
So, we've seen a lot of good success with the work that you've done here, and I've definitely learned a lot. Well, let's talk a little bit about what it is you do that's different compared to others that are in your industry and in your field of work.
There's several guys doing similar things to what I'm doing, but my main emphasis is to lay the property out in its natural way with the terrain features. And again, it's not the rubber stamp version where the center is your sanctuary. A lot of properties that I go to and work on, the sanctuary actually is useless to the people because they haven't done any habitat work in there, and the timber has grown up, or the vegetation has grown up past the successional stage that the deer like. So just by designating an area as sanctuary doesn't mean that that's where your deer are going to be. Actually, completely the opposite. I'll go to the property, I'll say, show me the beds in your sanctuary where the deer are at. Most of the time the customer can't do that because the property wasn't laid out correctly. I can take them to the end of a point and show them where the deer are naturally bedded there. And the reason I want to create better bedding there is for dominant animals to come in and take over the spot.
And I experienced that firsthand when you were here back in May of 2011, and I'd walk by buck beds all the time and never realized exactly what they were, and it was interesting because we weren't 10 minutes into the walk on our property and to get the layout and understand what kind of plan that we were going to execute, and you walked over and said, "There's a buck bed," and it was amazing how it just clicked for me, seeing that one natural bed on what it is I needed to be looking for, and then talking about the terrain features and all of that. So, I think a lot of people don't understand when we talk about hinge cutting and making some changes to the habitat. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and how that really benefits versus being detrimental to the environment?
Like I was saying, I find where they're naturally bedded at, and then I improve it. And the best way to improve bedding is to give them the hinge cut tree, which keeps the tree alive and gets sunlight in. So they have something to hide against or around or under, and then we're getting sunlight in there for our diversity. So at the same time, I'm doing a timber stand improvement. These were hawthorn trees, so hawthorn isn't a timber tree, so we knock some of those down so we can get our walnuts and our red oak to really kick off. And even on this situation, we got a wild apple tree here, so we've knocked the competition back away from it, so now it's going to be able to produce soft mass for us. So the entire time I'm walking through the timber, working on a property, I'm cutting all the vines out of the trees, so now the deer can reach them, and it saves the canopy of those trees because a vine will just rip the top out of your good timber trees, and then it gives them, again, their diversity that they can reach down low. A lot of this is just screening cover to make them feel more secure and safer in an area. And then by hinging that also, I'm blocking off other trails, so I can take a half dozen trails, block them off, and concentrate the deer onto one trail, which increases the percentages of harvesting that deer.
So a lot of people want to have that state park appearance, and your experience is that's not going to attract deer because they don't have the cover and they don't have the habitat to browse and get the nutrients that they need.
Right, the park-like scenario couldn't be a worse situation. It takes 25 acres of that to produce enough food for one deer for year-round. When I knock the stuff down and get more like a clear-cut situation, I can produce enough food on 4 acres for one deer. So I can have 6 times more deer naturally living off of the natural vegetation. Then I put some food plots in, increases my carrying capacity even more because now I have some place for them to hide, plus the high quality food. So there's a lot of benefits. The park-like scenario is a terrible thing because you can't get close to the animal, even if the animal is bedded on the point like it would be naturally, and it's just using the terrain features, the ground as its cover. You can't get close to it because it sees or hears you coming. And the thicker you can make it, as long as the animals still have access to move, the closer you're going to be able to get to hunt to those sanctuaries or places they're spending most of their time.
Well, that's I appreciate you coming out. You know, we're going to continue to work together, and it seems to be going well, and you're definitely helping me and teaching me a lot of things. So if you want to get a hold of Jim, check out his website, jimwardwhitetailacademy.com. You can go on there and click on contacts and contact him directly, and it'll send him an email, and he'll give you a call if you're interested in having him come out to your property and help you as he's helped me the past 3 years. So I think we're set up for good success this fall, and hopefully we see some good deer once the leaves start to turn. Keep following us on our blog at allthingswhitetail.com, and we appreciate your time.
Very decent.